Hello and welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here. If you are a first timer, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming. If you are somebody that has been here forever, kudos to you. I appreciate you being back and always listening. All right, today we are going to talk about something IBC related. And I get this question a lot, and my assistants get this question a lot. So let's answer it. When do I start a new policy? And how do I do that? What does that look like? All that good stuff. And so if you already have one IBC policy and you are wondering, when do I start another one? It's really a pretty simple to figure out. Let's put it that way. You are going to start a new policy when you can pay all of your premium on the existing policy, you are making loan repayments, and you still have excess money. And so a lot of times what happens is people have paid their full premium, right? If your premium, let's say your premium is $10,000 a year. You've paid your full premium of $10,000. You've borrowed money for a vehicle or for a piece of land or to start your business or whatever, and you're making payments back to your loan. You don't even have to have the loan paid off, okay? Some people think, well, in order for me to start another policy, I have to have that loan paid off and I have to be able to pay my full premium. No. If you bought a vehicle, and you're making payments on that vehicle, you can start another policy if you have excess cash. So if you've paid all your premium on your existing policy or policies, and we're making payments on our loans, and then we still have things that we're spending cash on, like, maybe we went and bought another vehicle with cash. Maybe we are buying things that are $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Every year we buy $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of stuff. Well, should we be running that through the policy first? Because if we're buying large ticket items with cash, or we're saving up for the large ticket item, the savings, the money that we're putting into savings, shouldn't that essentially be going into a policy so then we can borrow against that in order to make whatever that large purchase was? Now, when we do that, we have to make sure we can pay back that loan, right? Because now we have two policies and we have loans in each policy. And somebody asked me just recently too, how do I make sure that I pay back a loan? And maybe I did a podcast on this. How do I make sure that I pay back the loan and I pay the policy? I think I did do a podcast on this. Well, we're going to pay back the policy. If we can't pay back the loan on the policy, we shouldn't have been taking the loan to begin with. And so there is a fine line to when can I start my next policy. And we don't want to get so leveraged that we can't afford to buy the policy or we can't afford to pay the premium on the policy. So we do have to be smart about it, but we have to look at what we're doing financially. If we're continually putting money into savings, if we already have a policy and we're still putting $500 a month in savings, well, can $400 of that go to premium? Can $250 of that go to premium? And then the rest of it can go as a loan repayment when we take the loan. So we want to be able to start policies and a series of policies when we have extra money. This is important that you have some sort of a budget and you're watching your dollars. If, let's say that you guys have an Airbnb, a lot of you listening have Airbnbs, short-term rentals, okay? If you have a short-term rental and we have income coming from that short-term rental that's not going back into the short-term rental, then where is that money sitting? Why would you pay the short-term rental off right away? Can some of that be run through a policy? If we started another business, let's say that we started a vending machine business, or we had whatever our little side gig is, okay? If you have something that's producing income, be honest and say, you know what? This is extra income that we've never had before. And so this extra income is going to go to a policy. Now, I have clients that told me, oh, hey, Mary Jo, everything is great, right? We meet up, we talk, everything is fantastic. We just bought a new pickup and a new Harley. I said, with cash? Yeah, with cash. Okay. So the cash didn't go in the policy because the policies were already full that they had. So now we had to start other policies. What also happens is if you have a policy that you've never borrowed against and the money's just sitting there like it's a savings account, you don't have a high enough premium payment. You need to start more policies. If you are never forced to go to your policy to borrow money to buy things, you still have too much cash on hand. You need to start more policies. So, this is when I know I need to start more policies myself. And let's be honest, I am uber conservative. Uber conservative. I do not pride myself on having 40 policies or 50 policies. No, 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 no. I think I have eight. Think I have eight. And because I will wait until I can start a bigger policy. I'm not starting policies every 6 months so that I can say I have more money going through. I don't want to frankly manage all of that and all of those policies. And let's be honest, nobody is managing that in my household except me. Okay. Let me just tell you a quick little story about what happens in my household. This has nothing to do with this, but it reminds me of this story. So, as I'm recording this, it was this last weekend. My husband needed to wash some sheets from our camper. Okay. I refused to do it because there were mice in the camper, and the mice did not get there because I was the one that left chips on the counter. Okay. And so I said, I'm not cleaning up this mess. Dude, you should have took the chips out of the camper. Okay. So he knows this. He knows all this. And so he comes in the house with all of the blankets and all of the sheets and all of the comforters because he needs to wash these. We have a top load washer. And he says, so I start the water first, right? And I said, yep. Did you put soap in? And he's like, oh, am I supposed to put soap in? I said, yes. You put the soap in and run the water so the soap dilutes, and then you can put your stuff in, but you don't want it to get too full before you put your stuff in. And I laugh at him and said, we've had this washer for 2 years and you still don't know how to wash clothes. Yeah. So let's be honest. I'm the one that handles that. I'm the one that handles the policies in my house. Okay. That's not his thing. He's outside doing outside stuff. Like, I'm totally okay with it. But if I can point out that he's not had to wash clothes in 2 years, am I going to do that? Yes. Yes. And I'm going to do it. And we don't argue. We don't fight. I'm not condescending. I'm just like, dude, you haven't washed clothes in 2 years. Like, super me. Right. But he's not tracking our policies. So I am the one that is going to do all of those things. Like, I don't have time. So I'm going to start new policies, and it's going to be at a slower pace than what most people are going to do it at. Because I don't have a wife I can say, hey, you keep track of all the books, honey. That's not the case in this house. So everybody is going to start at a different rate. And yes, we help you with that because I have assistants and we have spreadsheets that we make for clients that have a lot of policies. I am just not a huge believer we need to start $1,000 or $2,000 policies and we're 40 some years old. Okay. No, let's wait until we have a little bit more money that it makes more sense to do that. And everybody's at a different level. So it depends on your age. So don't take that out of context either. But if we're spending a lot of cash, we then need to make sure that Why are we spending all this cash? If we're putting all this money into savings still, why is it going into savings and not a policy? If we've not borrowed against the policy, why are we not borrowing against the policy? Because we probably don't understand the concept. We don't quite, or we're not quite trusting yet. If you don't use it, you lose it. Remember what Nelson said. So, should we be always starting more policies? If we can, yes. And most of us, our income is rising. And so, if our income is rising and we have excess money, why isn't it going to a policy? Now, in today's environment, that might not be the case for everybody. Maybe our income is rising, but so has inflation, and we're kind of stuck where we are for now. Okay, I'm not talking about starting a new policy every year. But if we've had this process for 5 years and we haven't started a new policy, what are we not understanding about this concept to make us say, oh, maybe I should be starting a new policy? I can tell you the people that really, really follow and understand infinite banking, they're starting a policy every year to 2 years. Okay. I start mine within that same time frame, depending on what I have going on. If I have made a large purchase with cash, I then start another policy to pay myself back for that purchase. Instead of it going to a savings account, it goes to a policy. So I make the policy premium my amount I'm paying myself back. And again, you can figure that out however you want. So I hope I hope that helped understand, like, when do I start one? When you're ready and when you can meet all of those criteria. If you're a client of mine and you're asking that question, then we should be talking and meeting so we can look at your numbers. What's happened? What is going on in your world that has changed? Is it changed for the better? Has it changed for the worse? What is happening that we can probably add to what we already have? So if you have questions, comments, concerns, let me know. MaryJo at withoutthebank.com. If you've not gotten Life Without the Bank yet, go to withoutthebank.com and grab that book. Another really good book to read on this subject is Nelson's book, Warehouse of Wealth. You can also get that on my website, withoutthebank.com. That book is probably one of the better ones to read about when to start another policy, because Nelson talks about building your warehouse and what to do with some of that excess money. So if you've not read that one, grab that one, and hopefully that should help in addition to whatever it is that I have. Again, if you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next podcast.